Well, hello, Benjis. Welcome to a special Friday edition of the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I'm one of your co-hosts. I am a speaker, a trainer, and a podcaster. And we've got another mix up or another edition of our co-host. So back in the saddle. This guy, he's a game designer, he's an entrepreneur, he's part owner of the Geekish Network. Say what's up to the people, Chuck.
What's up, everyone?
Woohoo!
Back at it.
And yo, he's like a season regular now. He dropped in a couple of weeks to share his geek cred. My guy, he's an orator, he's an educator, he's an influencer. Yo, Rakai, say what's up to the people, man.
Hello, brother. I am back from Wakanda, and I could not wait to get here tonight.
Wow.
Hello, everyone.
That's where we are.
And we are the BingeWorthy podcast. And that's right, man. It's happy Black Panther weekend, everybody. And shouts out to all of our veterans out there. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans. We appreciate your service, guys. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
I'm doing well.
Doing all right, sir.
Good. And the premise of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series, and then we come right here to the BingeWorthy podcast to discuss that series. At the beginning of the show, we will rate the series using our unique BingeWorthy scale. Then we engage in conversation. We talk about acting quality. We talk about camera shots. We talk about writing, the full spectrum of the IP. And at the end, we will re-rate it. Now, sometimes, my illustrious co-hosts here, they can influence us to change our rating. Sometimes they might influence us to lift it up. And at other times, they just bring that shit all the way down to the flow. Speaking of our unique binge-worthy scale, it is as followed. At a number 5 is what we call a full binge out. That means this property is outstanding. It is dynamic. It is one of those things that you cannot miss. At a number 4, we call it a full meal. A full meal is not quite a full binge out, but it is definitely worth your time to invest in watching this property. At a number 3, that's what we call a mini meal. A mini meal isn't bad. It's just not good either. It's kind of When our co-host Courtney's here, she always describes it as a bland-ass TV dinner, and I say without all the Lyra seasoning sprinkled in. At a number 2, we call that a snack. A snack, it's one of those things, you watching it, but you don't enjoy it at all. You might eat it, but it has no nutritional value or no quality at all. It's like a old bag of Cheetos stuck up in the cabinet, and that's all you got to eat because you're too lazy to go outside and get something else. You just hate watching it because it's on. And at a number 1, it's what we call a cringe worthy. And that means this is just some old bullshit. And I'm going to resurface an old trope. I'm going to say, Chuck, why the hell did you recommend we watch this? I haven't said that to you in a long time, so I thought, we'd revisit it.
Racist. Wakanda comes out, and you got racist on
me. And that is our binge-worthy scale. Tonight, we are reviewing FX's Atlanta. It is the last season of it. This is the season finale. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to start with you, Chuck. How are you going to rate Atlanta?
The last season, I'm going to give it I wish I could go higher than a full binge out. For this show, I wish I could give the whole show a full binge out. I think the show should be mandatory watching for any student that is into narrative storytelling whatsoever on any format.
So full binge out for you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then I'm going to jump in, and then I'll let you back clean up and bring us on home. So for me, when Atlanta first aired, it was like nothing I had ever seen before. I thought it captured a nuance of black culture that had never been seen before. It wasn't like thugged out, it wasn't corny. Like these were archetypes that we had never seen before. And then they even pushed the envelope even further for me in season 2. And after season 2, the whole cast blew up. Donald Glover became China's Childish Gambino. He started doing Star Wars movies. He did other projects. Van became a movie star. Alfred became an internal. And I was like, ain't no way they coming back. So it was like 3 or 4 years later before they did season 3. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't think that they would do it. And then they capped it off with season 4. And I thought that they picked up right where they left off. And by that, I mean being something new and innovative. If I were to describe them as a rap group, it would be Outkast because every season is something different and they reinvented themselves, something brand new, but something so familiar because the quality is just that high. I've got to concur with my brother Chuck here. I'm giving it a full binge out. And the only reason I'm giving it a full binge out is because we haven't created a higher number on the scale. So that's how I'm gonna do it. Full binge out for me for the final season of Atlanta. Rakai, bruh, bring us on home. How are you gonna rate Atlanta season 4, the final
I,
season?
I think that what both of you have said is very poignant and correct. Um, I loved the first season of Atlanta. And then when it got to season 2 to Robin season, I was like, wow, could this get any better? Like, it was an improvement on season 1, which is saying something. And then season 3, I thoroughly enjoyed. It was weird as hell. Their jaunt through Europe. I was like, but I have been fortunate enough to go through Europe, and Europe, yeah, it's just kind of that damn weird. But season 4, when they made it back to Atlanta, at first, like my very first thought was to give it a full meal. But then when I got to like going over, like, because I took notes on each episode, when I got to going back over, I was like, I just remembered how much I thoroughly enjoyed it and how great it was really from beginning to end. So I know we're just rating the season, but yeah, if I could give it higher than a 5, I would. So for me, it is a full binge out.
Cool. All right. So we got a full binge out all across the board. All right. So this is, as we said, the last season of it. There were 10 episodes in this season with the runtime of about an hour. And we've alluded to it a little bit. Last season, they were trekking through Europe, and now they are back in the States. So I'm going to start with you, Chuck. What did you think about the quality of the writing for this season?
Uh, it was amazing. I don't think the quality of writing on any of the seasons was ever bad. And I thought to round it out in the close with this, it was amazing. Um, there's a lot going on, and I learned, and I really believe, I was actually revisiting some of Donald's rap albums, and he alludes to a lot of things in Atlanta, to it being before it was even written. He's talking
Mm.
about writing Atlanta, and I think to be able to tie a narrative from a mixtape that he did in like 2005 to a show that he released in 2021, you can't even beat it. There's nothing you can beat there. I mean, this is next level genius. This is
So
being able to
he
make
touched
somebody
on
write.
themes from the mixtape
Mm-hmm,
in Atlanta that he did back in 2005. See, I wasn't aware of that.
mm-hmm. As a kid, as a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted to watch the penultimate episode again. He has a whole song that describes that episode. And it's from one of his earlier, it's from Cul-de-sac, his mixtape.
And the
And
is that the one where Paperboy is on the farm?
He's on the safe.
yes, yes, he's on a safe farm. Yeah.
Okay.
And he didn't even write that episode. So people don't care to realize that him and his brother really didn't write these last episodes. He had other writers writing them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just stuff that he's already written. And then when you compare it to Because the Internet, the whole entire 4 seasons is preluded before from his album Because the Internet. and the screenplay he wrote for Because of the Internet, and the long performance piece that lasted 2 years for the release of Because of the Internet, which is his album. It was a prelude, and there's a lot of call back and forth where the boy and Paperboy and Earn are all talking to each other, full on conversations.
Hmm.
This show was brilliant.
Hmm. Okay. All
You
right.
know,
That's a good
like
take.
the
I
theater
wasn't.
him and Janae Aiko did when they went to the Breakfast Club. It's brilliant.
Okay.
Where
All
you
right.
had to
That's a good
mix
take. I'm gonna have
reality,
to
mix
go
up
back and
reality.
listen to that. Cool. So, Rakai, these characters, they've had 4 seasons, or we've had 4 seasons with these characters, and I thought they were really in a groove on this last season. So, what do you think about the quality of the acting for the entire series? Just the stars, and including, some of the co-stars that we had on this season.
I think that they were fantastic. One thing that really got me, you alluded to it earlier, how after season two, I mean, a lot of them were already had other lanes and other things that they were doing, but then it's almost like one of the reasons they blew up because of the show. And three of the four of the main casts are in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Glover was in Spider-Man.
He's in Star Wars too.
Yeah, in Star Wars. Zazie was in Deadpool. I mean, Brian Henry Tyree, became an Eternal. I mean, they blew up. Um, and I think I was going to say what I love too was what Chuck just said. Like one of the unsung heroes was Stephen Glover. I didn't know that they didn't write this season, and I think what you said was real interesting. I didn't know any of that either about the callback, because that reminds me of episode 1 about the scavenger hunt.
Mhm.
Um, kind of callbacks type stuff. Um, I think the most interesting thing that I just kind of just seeing how their writing and their acting kind of plays on things. A lot of times, Alfred let his phone like go to voicemail when uh, Donald Glover was calling him, when Ern was calling him. And there's thinking about the growth from him in season 1 to the end of the season, where he actually earned his actual name, Earn, because he had to practically beg him, damn near bribe him, to let him get on and help him and manage him in season 1. And now to look at where he evolved to, like, through season 3 and season 4, he's all business. Like he is managing the hell out of Paperboy, and to the point where he got part of the agency and now he's going to move to LA and do his own thing. Like he's handling his business. And it's just, I don't know. I thought the acting was phenomenal.
Absolutely. And you jump right ahead to one of the questions that I was actually going to talk about, because when we first meet Ern, right? Dude's working at the airport, a little over minimum wage. He's literally living in a storage shed. You know what I'm saying? He hooks up with a few girls and then he goes back to the storage shed. And I was watching it with my wife and I said to myself, man, Ern is the worst manager ever. He literally does nothing. But like season 3 and season 4, we see him out here killing it. So I want you to just talk about, what did you think about the arc that Ern had? And I want Chuck you to weigh in too. What do we think about the arc that we see Ern have from season 1 to season 4?
I think it was interesting with Ern because even in season 1, and then you didn't hear so much about it season 3, and it came back up this season, and they really jumped into the wire. I mean, you knew he was smart. I mean, he went to Princeton, right? And I loved the particular episode this season where they talked about what happened at Princeton. Oh, the writing, that episode almost drove me to tears. And then it was so brilliant, it blew my mind. I had to turn the TV off for a while and just sit in that. I was like, God, that was bananas. Um, I just thought, and it's one of those things that just goes to show you that sometimes, some people are destined for greatness and destined to do good things. And I think it was super important this season to show that black man going through therapy.
Mm.
But he had a solid therapist who was giving him real world application, real world, advice that he could take out and use and better his life with, and how much that was helping him, even to the point where it helped him in a whole way. That shit was crazy. Um, but I thought that he really, I don't know. I mean, he really, like I said, he really became earned. And by the, I don't know. I liked how when it finally went off at the end, it was almost kind of like a callback to the beginning where you saw, him, Van, Alfred, Paperboy,
Yeah.
all cracking up, just laughing outside. Let's go outside, smoke a blunt. They're having the greatest time, and they just, they didn't even realize that it's not going to be like that anymore. Like this is, we getting ready. He probably getting ready to go back to the farm. Van and Ern are going to L.A. and who knows what the hell Darius going to do? Like he be watching Judge Judy somewhere and shit.
Judge Judy with the fat ass, the thick Judge Judy.
Thick Judge Judy.
Chuck, what about you, sir? What'd you think about Ern's arc? Or did you think he had an arc from season 1 to season 4?
Uh, I think this is very interesting. I mean, he had a job. He improved as a person over the job, but he was still the same Ern.
You think so? Really?
I think he was. I think he's in order to go to somewhere like Princeton or any high level college, you have to be organized and driven. I think
Mm.
he was always organized and driven until he broke. You gotta think, he got put out of Princeton for getting a job. He was going to a job interview.
Mm-hmm.
Has had enough money to go get a suit. He was an RA at the same time. So knowing that Ern was not a deadbeat in season one, we thought he was a deadbeat and probably flunked out of school, but
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't that person. He was a person dealing with some trauma, being
Mm-hmm.
betrayed by somebody he trusts that he
Right.
thought they were equal to.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first 2 seasons definitely, we thought he was an F up, and he did nothing wrong. So him wanting to be Paperboy's manager, and we thought he was a deadbeat just trying to get a job somewhere. No, he probably had the chops for it, and obviously he did. You know,
His father said that. His father said anything that he wants to accomplish, he does. He's
yes,
got to put in the effort. But we
yes,
just never saw that on screen, at least in those
we made a
first two.
lot of assumptions
But I
as to
think that was the beauty of it. I think
yes,
that, I mean, it's just like, you can, depending on where you meet people, where in their journey you meet them, first impressions are everything. So, and I think they purposely gave us that first impression of Ern, and I agree with everything that you just said, Chuck. Like, that he was highly driven and motivated, and it's just, but that trauma of that situation set him back a couple years. So he had to find himself again and find, the person that he always was. It's not that that
or
person ever went away.
or
It's just he
or
had to
he had
find his way back to it because it did something to him. It hurt him on
or
a deep metaphysical level.
or he had to reimagine himself. The reality he knew was being an Ivy
Yeah.
League black kid that dominates the classroom, dominates what he does. Now he's back here. He's going with his cousin, who we misnoted too. Because we thought Alfred was a street nigga that's having become a rapper. And he's not that guy. Not that guy at all.
Mm-hmm.
Both his street persona and his rap persona are both characters.
Yep.
You know?
Damn,
They're
Lil Yachty.
And
characters.
I never got the idea that Ern was dumb. It was more not driven. I think
Yes,
that's the
yes, and
interpretation that I
yes.
got the first two couple of.
Yes, and it wasn't. It was just him trying to reimagine himself in an environment that he's not used to. He
And
probably
I think
dominated academia his whole entire life
right. And
in
I
terms
think
of,
that episode is important because one, we get to see Earn like the trauma that he dealt with, and also mental health. And it's a big problem for a lot of black men. And even
Yes.
so, when Paperboy called him and was like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "To therapy." Paperboy starts laughing. He's like,
Yeah.
"I made him so much money, he can afford to go to therapy now." But
Yeah.
like to unpack that, like Earn really needed that, and still, Earn's got a lot he's dealing with.
Everybody there needs therapy.
You know, but that's the thing. That is a thing in the black community. You know,
Oh,
and a lot of people in the black community do not believe in therapy, and they think that a good substitute for therapy is church. You know, you go pray, and you
yeah,
know,
rest
and
too.
Jesus is gonna get you through it. And no, you go find you a therapist. You pray if you want.
I'm a
You
big
get you
proponent
a
of a therapy.
therapist.
I'm a
Uh,
super big
but
proponent of
now
it.
let's actually talk about the episode.
Go ahead. What do you want to say? Because it sounds like you got some stuff you want to get off of your chest. Express
Listen,
yourself, brother.
Listen, so okay, at the end, and we can go into all the what happened, but at the end, when Darius said to him, he's like, and him and Paperboy said, "How much money did you spend to set this up?" And he's like, "Enough, or whatever." And they said, "This is either extreme pettiness or anger terrorism," and he's like, "Yeah, I think I need to go back to therapy."
It's
It's
both.
like,
It's both.
It's both. They can both live in the same space.
And it was an execution of power. He created a power situation, and it's something that a lot of black people can't do.
Well, that whole episode is about power and people
Yeah.
who don't have power and how you
Yes.
abuse power.
Yeah.
Because here was the white woman, she literally had no power in her life. We see her fawning after the black guy who she's too scared to talk to. Her best friend is like, "I'm not loaning you any more money," right? She can barely pay her rent. She has no power. But in this weak job that she's able to exert power over somebody who has more power
Who's
than she
depending
does.
on
And
depending
then
as a
Earn in
gatekeeper
return
as well.
exerts his power over her. So it's all about the dichotomy of power and who has it, who doesn't, what they can do with it, and what they can't do with it. Like it's
Yep.
really well done.
And
you
it
know,
was like,
but
how-
the thing about it too is that, and I mean, you know, to each their own. The fact that after the situation at Princeton, which he's discussing in therapy, when he starts talking about how that made him feel to have to, you know, to not be able to board the airplane and what that took away from him and Van, he destroyed that woman's life.
he
And, you know,
destroyed her life at that moment. Yeah.
at that
I mean,
moment.
I
And,
mean, it was
and I'm sure
gatekeeping.
maybe she'll be strong enough to bounce back from it.
It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter, and shouldn't matter
Yeah.
because it's gatekeeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And even when we have the keys to unlock the gate, we get punished
Right.
because he had the
Even when
keys
there's
to a
somebody
gate.
there to help. Because the black woman, remember, he said she came over to help him because she's like, she pulls this bullshit with every black person. And the black woman helped get him through, but those power dynamics, she called security on him. So he still ran into
Yes,
a
that. Yep. But it's gatekeeping, right? It was like even when he was in college, he had a key to get in the room
room.
to get the suit to save his life, to get a job, to continue to work, be at Princeton. And when he did it, the so-called friend had another layer and pulled it on him. That got
Mm-hmm.
him expelled from school.
Yeah, and they start, you know, and like you said, they start throwing stuff, you know, like they made it sound like he was like a sex offender, like a rapist
Yeah.
or something. Like,
Yes.
Which, and
And it
we
was
know
all done
again,
because
rape
he was
is
a
not a
black
crime.
man.
It's about power. Rape is about, and those were the language. That's the language she was using to against
Mhm.
him.
And they were friends, and she knew he needed the suit, and she ignored him. And he explained everything. And they both were RAs.
Mm-hmm.
They were technically equal in power.
Mm-hmm. But they weren't.
Yep. And he went in there to get something that was his.
So just like Earn was technically more
Mhm.
powerful than that little white woman, but he really wasn't. And then he exhorts his power over it.
yeah,
So man, that episode had so many layers to it.
Layers.
it,
And when
Layers.
she showed up there with that black library with all them black kids, and they
uh,
slowly started walking out.
uh,
Oh, I rolled.
Kids rolled away.
oh, and
No,
that
when
the
when
kids
when the woman
murder
that's supposed to be
out.
scouting her gets up, with the tape with her name on the chair like a director, and she gets
Oh,
up, rolls her
hold
head,
on,
and walks out.
hold on. And when the lady behind her just said, just keep going, just keep. Oh my God, that was written so well.
And
Uh,
and on top of that, the fact that that black lady was like, "Are you gonna give our kids some money?" He's like, "I got the kids." He probably gave them money anyway, but the fact that he can have them do this, oh, it was golden.
uh,
Yeah, man. And I should have knew it was something up when I saw Tracy in the office. Boy, I was like, oh Lord. And then tells Tracy, like, you better watch your back, cause I'm
You're
coming
next.
for you
oh,
next.
that right there, his whole face changed. He looked at him like he's like, wait. He said, and you next. He said, wait, what?
Yeah,
He said,
in the
I don't want
shower.
none of that. He said, I already saw what you
Yeah.
did to that lady. No, don't want
Wait
none of
till you
that.
get my wait till I get my money right. And you can't tell me nothing, right?
So get my money right.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Lady got
And
the Kyrie Irving treatment.
yeah,
Real bad.
he was on it. He was on it, and that is a very powerful evidence episode.
It was.
And
That all
and
throughout.
how
So I want to talk about real quickly. I want to talk about that first episode, episode 1.
Yeah.
So I thought it was so clever, the scavenger hunt, what they did, how they had the rapper, basically getting a scavenger hunt, to his death. And then when Paperboy shows up, I kind of thought that Paperboy was potentially seeing himself. Because to me, I think he deals with his need to be, embraced by the community, but also his struggle with his own success. And so I'm just curious to your thought. I'll start with you, Chuck, and then I'll go over to you, Rakai. So what do you think about the whole scavenger hunt and then when Paperboy ends
I
up at the actual funeral?
I thought the scavenger hunt was brilliant because it shows you that only a few are really true fans. Only a few will take the time to dissect every word you say and go through everything you do and follow all the clues you behind to see who you really are as a person. Like when he met his wife was like, "Yeah, he did all this. He did it for his real fans, and you're number 7."
And also maybe the power
And
of words. Like you thought he was saying something, but he was actually saying something else. You just
yeah,
had to pay attention and hear it. And
you
how
had,
our
that's only
words and
true
our
fans
music can
do that. Only
infiltrate our
true
minds
fans
like
do
that.
that. Most people are fair weather. Only true fans take the time to listen to everything and dissect every word and hold on to every word and actually research every word you say. People are like, "Oh, that's dope. It's dope." No. Drake 21 Savage, album of the year. But Nas just came out with an album that
Oh,
is fire.
oh
And
my.
people are like, "Oh, that 21 Savage and Drake album's better. It's better." Lyrically is better because there's people that are not listening
Right.
to everything that's being said. Granted, I think King's Disease is like okay. It's not better than Magic, which is I think his favorite. I think it's probably his best album since Illmatic, but it's close. It's the best of the King series, King Disease things, but
Yes, King
it's
Disease 3 is the
yeah,
best of.
it's
Yeah.
the best of the King Diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot has to be that fans aren't really there for you. They say they're fans. They said they love you, but only 7 people showed up. And
Yeah.
his wife and how much love she had for him to keep it going. He's dead. She didn't have to do this. She's like, come here every day, hoping that fans will show up. And you're number 7.
Yeah.
Number 7.
And
On
even
top of the fact that where people said we
He
didn't
was the
even know
best
he
to ever
had out
live.
a new album for 5 months.
Yeah,
right.
he was like the
Right,
best.
because that one dude said that he was like, when he was in that little meeting, he was like, I didn't know he was dead for 5 months. You can either be real or, yeah.
Well, and that's
Mhm.
another thing too
And
about how that particular episode called back to the first episode. They said, "What is this really about?" He said, "You sat in the studio all day with them youngsters. How many of them even knew who you were?"
yep, yep.
You
And
know,
people don't understand. We actually went through this. We went through this for MF Doom. MF Doom died. Nobody knew he was dead for like 6 months, 7 months.
hmm
Nobody knew MF Doom. One of the greatest rappers to ever live, and nobody knows.
Yeah. When they talked about in that the third episode, they said, the phases that you go through, and Paperboy wanted to argue about the phases that he's still relevant in the streets. And I was like, no. They
Yeah.
said, you don't even understand the phases. He said, after you hit that OG level, you know, like who even you still out here trying to be in the streets or be around the streets, who even knows who you are? First thing one of them little Caucasian kids said was, oh man, I used to listen to you when I was a kid.
Yeah. And he's only what, like 18, 17 years old.
Yep. Yep. Not only that though, you understand how that's a throwback to robbing season when Paperboy ran into those kids that tried to rob him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
You're
think it's
not
a thought.
relevant anymore. You're not a hero.
Yeah.
You're just
I,
a mark.
right. I thought it was relevant to every like kind of isolated Paperboy episode we get, even when he was in France. Like he's dealing with like he didn't even know what his contract was. He had to ask Earn, like, what are my points on this? Like, what are my royalties? Do I own all these things? Like, Paperboy is having this duality. He even tries to sell weed, and his weed, his connect robs him. Right? He's trying to balance this being relevant in the streets with his success,
Yeah.
and he's losing on both fronts.
Because neither one of them are him. He's neither one of those people. You understand? When he was in Amsterdam, he ran into somebody that was his mother, a
Mm-hmm.
version of his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Even come to realities who he was and what's around him.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of this may be real.
Yeah, man. Man, it's so many layers that
Yeah, dreamed all that up.
yeah, he did. Right, because that's his
Yeah.
subconscious.
And then y'all care to forget the name of the last episode.
It was all
It
a
was
dream.
all a dream.
Yeah,
Dream.
This whole
yeah,
thing is fake.
yeah.
The whole entire thing is fake.
And
And it
all of
wasn't that thick Judge Judy. Like we didn't see if Judge Judy was thick the last time that Darius
Oh,
looked
it
at her.
went off where
It went off and he
he
just
was looking
smiled
at before he was gonna go, so we don't
and
know
he
if he was.
when
smiled.
he hit that grin like,
Yeah,
was she
the,
thick?
yeah. And it doesn't matter because he said I think a thick Judge Judy is that she's on television.
Right.
If I think that she's on television, then this isn't real. It doesn't matter she's thick. Judge Judy's want the booty, always had it. And so to him, it's
Judge
just
Judy had the booty. What y'all talking about? You ain't got no booty.
Judge Judy.
No.
But
It's
that's that's that's
she's
the
Judy
saying.
Justice now. She ain't
So
even Judge Judy.
I think a thick Judge Judy.
Yeah,
And so for him, it was just that she was there.
Which on top of that, excellent cameo by Cree Summer. Come on, man.
yeah, man. I was dope. I was like, is that Freddie? Freddie done made it to Atlanta. She done graduated from Hillman and moved to Atlanta. That's dope.
Hillman's in
Me some
Atlanta.
Cree. My God.
Hillman's in
Still love me
Atlanta.
some Cree Summer.
No,
Hillman's
Hillman's in
Atlanta.
Virginia.
Is in Virginia?
Yeah, Hillman's in Virginia.
Okay.
Their rival was Norfolk.
Okay.
Different world fan here, buddy.
I thought it was based on Spelman.
Nah,
Yeah.
Hillman's a co-ed school.
Okay. But that was still based on Spelman because of his daughter.
Nah, it's in Virginia.
I know it's co-ed, but I figured he'd still throw it in there.
It's Virginia.
But that's crazy. Hold on. Did we freeze? Are we on the screen frozen?
Oh, I don't know.
I think we're frozen.
I'm out here.
Hold on. No, we're not.
Oh,
Okay.
we're good. We're good.
Okay. But
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
I found it very interesting.
So let's talk about this church episode, man. This is one of my favorites in the series. Not that all of them weren't good, but I was like, man, this is so much my family. When I saw Ernst's father, I was like, if that ain't my Uncle Theo. When he said, I've been dealing with this crazy family for 30 years, this your time, son. And it was just I just thought it was so much going on there. So Rakai, what did you think about the church episode?
That episode, it did remind me of my mom's side of the family to a certain degree. But I don't know. I think what I really picked up on were some of the small nuances in the episode, like following his dad around, where his dad said, this I get my 2-3 hours of peace before before church lets out and these young whippersnappers get in here in the mall or whatever. But then he needed attention to the way where he got completely wrapped up by the lady giving him all the false praise, and trying on hats. He'll buy, Richard Roundtree's old pimp hat, because the lady touched him on the shoulder and told him, he said, you are so handsome. Is there anything that you can't wear well? You can wear anything on your head. He had bought every damn hat in that place, and it's just, and then the disrespect that he got, just trying to get out of like that shit, and it is these young whippersnappers, a lack of respect where he blew up in was it Ryan's or whatever Golden Corral type place that they were at the end. Like, it was just, that is the type of stuff you don't see on TV. Like, I haven't seen that shit since James on Good Times type. I mean, like, I don't know. It's hard to think, maybe because there was a lot going on in that episode. I just thought the auntie, she said, y'all hate me because I'm light skinned. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff in that episode. We got sibling rivalry, colorisms, attitudes towards, different generations and the elders. It was a lot going on there. Chuck, how'd you feel about the church? I don't know what the official name of it, but I'm calling it the church episode.
I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. I think it showed where everything is. Like, as a child, if we don't pay attention to the adults, they don't see us. Like when a woman was like, go out to do the little yachty door.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't look
No,
back,
it
they
was
don't
Bobby
see you.
Schmurder.
Bobby Schmurder. Yeah, Bobby Schmurder. If you don't look back, they don't see you.
Yeah. Whatever you do,
And
don't look back.
don't look back because she doesn't see you.
And
Well,
she
then
did.
and she did.
None of the adults did. And you notice how Ern and Paperboy
Nobody
always
did.
shrinked around their elders. When Auntie came into the studio and was like, everybody get out, she was like, Paperboy was like, everybody got to get out. And they sat on the couch like little kids, be seen and not heard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whenever they were around their elders.
But
and you
the
showed the
fact,
contrast of that with the new generation,
yeah,
where they was mad disrespectful.
the fact that this was Bobby Schmurder door is interesting because Bobby Schmurder's been ignored since he's been out of jail. It was free Bobby Schmurder for like 3 years running. He got free and no one cared.
But the interesting thing too about, Bobby Schmurder got free, and Bobby Schmurder was a new Bobby Schmurder. He wasn't even the same dude as when he went in. He was on a whole different wavelength when he came out. And, it's almost like you said, he was ignored. People like, we don't want him. We want the ratchet ass dude. You over here talking about
the one that matured.
vegan and shit. We don't want him. We don't.
So that seemed more interesting. And even how the auntie thought she was the special one, yet the father knew the name of Ern's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Alma Gloria.
The name of that episode too was Light Skinned.
Yeah, and he was just playing around. Like she is definitely my favorite because I'm with her and I'm at dinner with her, and you think you are because you're light skinned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, colorism. Yeah, you thought that all
everybody laughed at her, and
right.
everybody got the phone with her. Like, oh, you thought you were special because you light skinned. You're the one he didn't know, but he didn't care about. Really?
Can't wear your suit.
Not only that, too.
Kidnapped you, grown.
No, but when Ern got out the car and the mama just closed the door, when the Susie closed the door and she sped off, and they just shit was hilarious.
And it made sense for the older sister to be like that. He doesn't really want to be with you, so you keep him away from all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I sped off because this is what he really wants. I know what he likes. You think he likes what you like? That's not what it is. He likes what he likes.
Yeah, man. But you can tell it's a lot of trauma going on with that family. We don't know. We know one of them has abused Ern, and I don't know if it was one of the aunts or something, but it was somebody in that family because he talks about it. They're dealing with colorism. They're probably dealing with generational poverty. Like it's a lot of things going on.
If you think about that
therapy
generation
episode
too,
that he got abused,
right?
Yeah,
that he got abused into the therapy episode. So we know somebody in his family abused him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this family's got a lot of things going on. It's got a lot of things.
Maybe from his father's side.
I was gonna say it could be from his father's side. Might not have even been from mother's
One
side.
reason they said they wrote that episode the way they did, because they said everybody's mother side of the family is crazy, but not their father's side. He said somewhere or another, if your mother has a brother, somebody has to say my dad's side of the family's crazy. At least when you talk to everybody goes, my mom's side of the family's crazy.
Well, so and
Like I guess me and you, Randy, would have that. Where I
But my
say my
father's
mom's
side,
side.
it's my
What?
father's side.
I know it, but it's my mom's side.
Yeah, it's your mom's
But we
side.
all refer to it as my mom's side of the family. You don't go like, yeah, my dad's side of the family's crazy. You go, mom's side of the family's crazy. And that's how we look at it.
well, I don't know. I think both sides of my family crazy as hell.
Yeah, yeah. My
I don't know,
dad's
but
side of the family
this
crazy as fuck.
episode hit me different too because that whole uh power vacuum, that fight between who's taking care of, like I saw, that hit me different because it hit me personally, like, like who was, until she just recently passed with my grandmother, like who was taking care of my grandmother. And I've seen this power struggle within my family, like my mom is Ern's mom, you know, to take care of my grandmother. And I had some other, family members that felt a different way about it. And it's crazy. Also, too, when you think about this particular generation, this is a generation of families too, where the, you know, for them to label out the one sister who was light skinned, the one daughter who was light skinned, this is a generation of families too, where they had more than one family. Like, the fathers be Rolling Stones. They had one family on this side of town,
Yeah.
had a whole nother family that everybody knew about on the other side of town.
Yeah,
You just didn't talk about it, but
Yeah.
you knew that them other people looked just like us. Like,
yeah, yeah. And what's interesting is all Ern's uncles and all his aunts and uncles, they had different mothers.
mm-hmm,
None of them had the same mother. They alluded to that.
And they
mm-hmm,
said, yeah, daddy's got kids all around. They knew that.
Yeah, yeah,
mm-hmm.
Who was it? Wow.
yeah.
Was it some comedian said he met one of his brothers at the basketball court?
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
He was named after his father. He was like,
yeah,
wait.
yep.
yeah.
My
I said,
friend Bobby. Bobby has 9 brothers, all named Bobby.
damn.
He's one of 9, another named Bobby. And he just found a had a new
It's
sister.
like George Foreman's kids.
Yes, yes,
Foreman got like
yes,
14 sons, all named George
yes.
Foreman.
It's very
We got a
crazy.
relative, he found out like he had a kid at a funeral.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby found out he had an older sister at the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. His father's alive, but it's like I think his grandmother died,
Yeah,
and
man.
all the brothers and sisters are there, and this woman rolls up. And I'm like, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm your sister."
Yeah,
They were
man.
like, "What?"
Hey, it happens out there like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Old school dudes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a friend right now. Her son hasn't told his fiance that he has a child outside of them. Child is like 4 or 5 months old.
Oh,
Hasn't told her yet. Hadn't told her he lives with her family.
uh-huh. Well, he's trying to avoid being homeless.
That's exactly what I
Uh,
said.
So,
Yeah. So
one of the things I wanted to ask, one of the criticisms, there hasn't been a lot of it, but one of the criticisms of Atlanta has been how they depict the female characters in the show.
mhm.
So, Chuck, start with you, man. How do you think they deal with this season in their depiction of the female characters? I know Van is a prominent part of it, but any of the other female characters in the
I
show?
mean, I mean, there aren't many female characters in it. Hell, there's not many characters outside of the main three unless everybody's satellite. Like
Mm.
everybody is just extra in somebody else's story. And I think Donald sticks to that based on if you listen to Because the Internet, you would understand how he sets this up. Everybody is an extra in somebody else's story. And Earn, this is not the first time he found Earn. You go to Because the Internet, song number 3, he runs into Earn. This is years before he even started Atlanta.
Mm.
And Earn is talking about everybody. He's a college kid, and everybody's just in his world. And this series is about Earn having to share his world with Paperboy, and by default have to share it with Darius, who
Mhm.
he learned to love. Like, you gotta think he couldn't stand Darius when he first met Darius.
Well, they weren't cool, but he says in the therapist's office, Darius is the only person he trusts.
Trust, yes.
That was interesting to me.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen,
Darius was the only person. Like
yeah.
he didn't say Lottie, he didn't say Van, he didn't say his mom.
Lottie's just turned 6, so I mean, but
Yeah, Lottie just turned 6.
but I
That's what I would have said. I'm like Noel. I'm like not Nicole, no Noel.
No,
I
but
didn't find that strange at all.
Really? Why
me
not?
either.
Only because Paperboy is his cousin. They've always had what I'm saying, like a weird relationship. But Alfred a lot of times is he's really just about Alfred. What he wants. He's the star, and he's dealing with his own shit. So he ain't got time to be caught up in whatever Ern's shit is. Darius is Darius. What you
Yep.
see is what you get, and he is an honest, just he's just a soul out here making his way through, and like what I'm saying, like if you go back to season 1 all the way, like what honest to goodness like interaction did you ever have with him that wasn't exactly what it was?
Yes. And also too, Alfred never really knew who he was. Just discover it's still discovering who he is, like Ern is.
Mm.
And Alfred always tested Ern. So he
Mm,
doesn't know what's a test and what's not a test.
mm-hmm.
And when he was in Darius, he felt safe. And Amsterdam proved that.
Yeah.
And so
Darius is one of the most
Darius is
interesting characters I think I've ever seen, especially from
yeah.
a. We don't have a lot of black Dariuses out there. It was like it was refreshing
Mm.
to see what he bought.
Mm.
Thing about Darius was Darius never had an ulterior motive.
Nah,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't.
Darius wasn't trying to use Paperboy, or he wasn't trying to
Use Ern.
flex and do
Nothing.
anything. He wasn't trying to, be somebody he wasn't because of Paperboy status. No,
He was
go
chasing
do what
his
y'all do.
mom.
I'm gonna make
And
some ends and
also
Yeah, I'm
watch Big Booty
Paperboy,
Junior.
homeboy.
also Alfred and Ern have a business relationship. They do
Mhm.
business dealings with each other.
Money makes things funny.
And Darius doesn't have that with anybody. He's just a ride or die friend.
I can see that.
So ride or die that he was willing to take care of Van when they were overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Picked her up.
so
He picked her up from the airport when
yeah,
they were
that's
on.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. But he looked at Ern and said, "I know how valuable she is to you,
And that
and I'll
makes
be
it
here.
that
I'll
valuable to
be,
me.
and she makes her valuable to me."
Okay.
I thought
So
also
Darius is
interesting
the one
about
you trust.
Darius, how I think it was in the last episode where Darius had lost touch with his own family, where he wasn't really around anymore, and he wasn't really, um, and I don't know. It sounded like, was his brother sick
His
or
brother
something?
was dead.
His
He
brother's
talks about
dead.
he talks about that in the passport episode. His brother
Okay,
died.
so wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute,
So
wait a
he
minute.
was in the tank at the
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
And so he was dreaming about seeing his brother. And he said,
So
I'll
was that
stay.
his brother?
That was his brother in the picture. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his brother in the
And
picture. 'Cause
and
I
he
remember
was
when he
he
asked
was
about
like
how's
he was like,
mom
do
and
you want
how's
me to
dad,
stay? Yeah, he's like,
but he
you
never
want me to
answered.
stay? I'll stay if you want me to stay.
Yeah, he
I'll
said, "Give me
stay if you want me to
half
go
a
to war.
bowl of Jollof."
Yeah, give me half. He's well, how'd you get Joel?
He said,
He's
"Well,
like,
my
I didn't make
roommate
it. My
made it."
roommate made it. He said, if you want me to, I'll stay.
And then he woke up, right?
And then no, they something happened. And they looked at him standing next to him. Remember, he was standing there looking outside, look, because he flipped over. Yeah, he kind of woke up. Yeah, he flipped over.
I thought he woke up
He
after that.
did. Then he was just
Oh
like,
no, it was Judy. Judge Judy was on TV, and her
Okay,
booty
yeah,
was
that's right.
that's
full,
right. Yep.
and they
Yeah,
both
that's
ran there
that
like,
big booty Judy. Yeah,
Yeah.
big booty Judy, big booty
Yeah.
Judge Judy.
Yeah.
and that's how we knew that he was in the tank.
Right.
Yes.
But I did not pick up on the fact that his brother
It's
was
dead.
dead. Like,
Brother died. Yeah.
How did you
Okay.
get that? Because I didn't pick up on that either.
His brother died. He made mention of it when they're in the passport episode. You know.
In season 3?
Uh-huh.
In season 2, right? That was in
In
season
season
2, the
two. Season
passport.
two. I think
When
I
when
think he makes mention of his brother passing. He didn't say passing. He says my brother's not here anymore.
Oh,
let
yeah.
me
I,
see,
I,
because I
I
don't
remember
remember.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course not. It's 5 years ago, guys.
That's an excellent catch, though. God damn.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, that's the thing about Atlanta. Like, it's
Like
so
That makes sense, bro. That's
nuanced and
I don't know.
connected together. Like,
Yeah,
they want to do all the connections between this and because of the internet, and y'all be like,
mind
whoa,
mind blown.
yeah, man.
mind
I might
So
have
that
to
means
see
blown.
that.
his parents could be passed away as well, or you know what I'm saying, just he lost connection with them. But okay, but I mean that makes sense on why he's such a free spirit, and it's just
He's
yeah,
Nigerian
it's
too.
no ulterior motives with him.
He's
He's
Nigerian too.
exactly
I
you
would say
get
he's
that.
Nigerian. We know he's
He
Nigerian.
moves as a Nigerian. He I'm not we're all black when we're in America, but we're different ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what y'all don't understand. You're getting a passport to know what it's like to be me. You've been black American your whole entire life. You've
Mm-hmm.
been in prison. You've been caged your whole entire life. You have no idea what freedom feels like. We can't fail. You all know nothing but failure. He says that.
Yeah,
And, you know, y'all get punished for failure. I'm Nigerian. We don't fail.
yeah. Failure. What is that?
What is that? Doesn't mean anything to me. And when you see other ethnic groups, other black ethnic groups, they move like that. Be it Dominican, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, African, they move differently.
That is a fact.
And every time you call them black, they're like, wait, no, no. That's what you all are in America.
Yeah.
Right.
We're I'm Nigerian. We
I was
got
just
our
listening to
freedom.
Takashi Coates
We
and he
we
was talking about
we
that.
kicked the white people out of our country.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we're in Jamaica. Jamaica's not even ours, and we kicked their asses out.
He said he went to Senegal and they were like, nah, we're not black. He
We're
said
not
they
black. We're
said
Sinhalese.
Beyonce wasn't black. Like, nah, she's like light skinned. She's yellow. Like, I don't know. It was just
Yeah,
weird
it's different.
for like hearing how he was saying in Senegal
It's
how they
different.
describe black
It's so
people.
funny. Like the richest man in the world is African American,
Yep. But we're not claiming him.
but no, I mean,
We're
technically, if
not
we're gonna
claiming
claim,
Elon.
we didn't say he was black,
Yeah,
but
right.
he is
Right.
African American.
Oh, yeah. From South,
See, black people have a tendency in America, a
he's from
tendency
South
to
Africa.
lump everybody. Some of us have a tendency to lump all of us together, and we're not the same. That's
I
like
agree.
saying a French and German person and Russian person. They're all the same. They're all three very different. You know, the Spanish and Italians are next door to each other, and they'll tell you they're different. The North
Mm.
Italians and the Southern Italians will tell you they're different.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right,
Yeah.
fellas. I think we've talked about this enough. So we're gonna go back and re-rate it. We started with you, Chuck
Oh,
time. Chuck
oh,
first
hold on.
time.
Do that. Oh, no, I just got to throw something out there.
All right, go ahead.
I got to throw something out there. Um, and I'll be quick. The snipe hunt episode, and I know this is Chuck's thing, where he went camping, is not my thing, but I loved that episode.
Mhm.
Him trying to reconnect with Lottie, and really him trying to reconnect with Van. Like you know, you were talking about a second ago about the female characters. I think that we really didn't understand what Van was going through. Like Van needed therapy in season 3. You know, and she had to do what she had to do because she was ignored to a point where Ern didn't really want to ignore, but she had to find her own way. She needed some therapy. And then in season 4, you saw the culmination of that where Ern just wanted his family back, you know. And uh whoever wrote the speech that he said to her was fantastic, you know, and that's why she became a more integral part of season 4. But I say all that to one of my favorite episodes, the goof who sat by the door.
Yeah.
How did I not? How did I miss that one?
God,
Brilliant. That
my
one needs an Emmy.
That
That one
that
needs an Emmy.
why?
that was homage to Pitney Swopes.
Who was that?
Is a Mario Van Peebles movie where there was a black guy to come into the room and all the board of directors voted for the black guy because they were too selfish and too big ego to vote for one another, but they didn't want to be the vote that actually makes one of the other ones the
Mm.
chairman of the company. So they voted for all of them voted for the black guy, which made him chairman of the company.
Hey man, that's one of the best episodes I think in television history.
Hmm.
Man, they had Goofy thugged out. Goofy was
Hmm.
black, man.
That's what the
But
Goofy
then
movie
really
was,
kind of
though.
giving us a backstory behind the
The
Goofy
Goofy
movie that
movie,
is
yeah,
damn near believable, but it really talks about some of the what we got out of the movie. I don't know if that was the people
that
who
it was all
made
planned.
that movie. Is that factual?
Yeah, it's factual. Like the
What
Goofy movie was supposed to be a movie targeted towards black kids,
was it?
which Powerline was created for.
I mean,
Powerline was basically Bobby
MC
Brown.
Hammer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He was like, I'm the guy that sings and raps. The music in and everything. Like the Goofy movie is like one of the blackest movies made, blackest animated movies made. And
yeah.
it's Disney saying this is the black guy. Goofy's our black guy. He's the black father with his son, reconnecting with his son, who's no longer
I
connected with
never
him.
got that interpretation about Goofy.
Man, go
Oh,
watch that
I did.
movie. Go watch
Off
that
that movie?
movie.
Off that
Go
movie?
watch that
Yeah, I did.
movie.
Not a Goofy fan.
Boy,
Hell yes.
go watch that movie. That
Not a
movie's a very
Goofy
Anything,
heartfelt movie.
anything else Disney involving Goofy, I don't feel that.
fan.
That movie? Yeah.
That movie was
Go
made
watch that movie.
for
Watch
us.
that
Like,
movie with your daughter this weekend. You'd be like, wow.
have you seen the Goofy movie?
Yeah, I saw it.
Man,
I
hey,
saw it years ago. I mean, I saw it decades. I was a little kid when that movie
Hey,
came
go
out.
see it as
go
an
back and
adult.
watch it now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go back and watch it now.
never like
You'll feel
Goofy
like
was
you're
never
watching
my
an
thing.
episode of Atlanta.
Yeah.
I love the episode of Atlanta. Like I said, I think it's
No,
one of the
you'll feel
best.
like you're watching an episode of
Yeah,
Atlanta.
but
Like
I
he would fit
just
right into that.
didn't
But
have that connection with
speaking of the
Goofy.
camping episode, you know what that is homage to?
What?
Childish Gambino's first album called Camp.
Is it?
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought it was brilliant. I thought it was. I
It
thought
is
it was
is an
absolutely.
album where came out, tell everybody I love you. This is what I got to do.
Okay.
And yeah, there's so much going on in this man's head on ideas and stuff he's throwing into his writing rooms, into his writers, and working with Hero. Like y'all know
Hero
Hero's episode,
Murakami. Yeah.
Hero Kami. All his episodes are a little bit dark because Hero's a lover of horror,
Mm-hmm.
so everything's a little bit dark. And people to understand what Childish Gambino was doing, he was recreating the new French wave, which is a style of films that black people really didn't participate in because it came in the 50s. As we were marching, we never took part in it. And so when we hopped on the new French wave, they moved us out of it as quick as possible and put us into Axel Foley roles in comedy where we didn't get
So
to
okay.
innovate and play. And you had somebody like Spike Lee who's like, nah, I'm French New Wave. I'm this New York New Wave.
You
And
made
we're
me
gonna do
think
things
then.
differently.
So what did you guys think about the sushi
Oh, I
episode?
thought it was brilliant. The whole last episode.
Oh, that
How
was.
we always wanted Popeyes, even though we had
Because I don't know. I just imagine that's me and Chuck, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go to such and such," and I'm like, "I want to go Popeyes," and
it
he's like,
is,
"I can't take you nowhere," and we sitting there, and I'm like, "Man,
you don't
Nah, when
understand
they
why
show
he did it
the
though.
three whippersnappers coming out of Popeyes and the boy almost dropped his chicken sandwich, start doing push-ups with the chicken sandwich.
He was humping it. He was humping it.
Yeah,
It was great.
I laughed so hard.
Oh man, it
But
is
when DeMarcus
ridiculous.
came out the back and started explaining, about the blowfish and stuff, like and then Darius came in and saved the day. That was nuts.
Yes,
I knew when he said the blowfish, I was like, ain't no way they're gonna eat blowfish.
me knew. I knew that too.
I was like, that's poison. They ain't that poison.
But he talked about how when black people do things, it's always wrong, which is was a shot at how black people do shopping behavior.
Oh yeah,
Black person opens up a consignment sneaker store, all the shoes in there have to be fake. But the white consignment store in the white neighborhood, all those shoes are real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like everybody bought StockX all day long, but they have a black consignment store down the street, and the person that's actually looking at the shoes actually can examine all the fake and real shoes. Like people care that like there's a company called like a private selection, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a black girl that she can smell the shoe, and to based on just the smell of the shoe because of the glues, she can let you know if a pair of shoes are real or fake.
Yeah, I saw this chick that
Yep.
this young lady online
Hmm.
at one of those like
That's what she
sneaker
does.
balls or sneaker
They pay
conventions.
thousands of
And,
dollars to do it.
yeah, and people took their shoes to her. So because when they're trying to sell them for $1,000, she verified your shoes, and she can
Hmm.
tell right off the bat. She knows stitching. She knows the smell of the shoes. She knows if
Hmm.
this the proper insole inside. She like everything. And I was
Wow,
like,
man.
wow.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, like she's like
But
she's a
but
shoe
not just
shoe
one, like
connoisseur.
not she's not just a Jordan. Like it didn't matter what shoe you
What
bought
shoe it
her,
was,
she
she
knew.
knows.
That's
She
dope.
knows because she's a sneaker connoisseur.
Yep. Yep. That's geeking out,
And,
man.
and and people are like, oh, it's a black owned shop, so it has to be fake. No, her shop is real. She's like a sommelier of sneakers, and she'll tell you that I'm like a sommelier of sneakers.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And but we rather go to like StockX, who now doesn't even authenticate shoes anymore because they slip through so many fake ones.
Mm, it
But
don't make
people go to StockX because it's a
yeah.
white owned
And
place.
I could see people going to the black owned one and just complaining about the prices and
Yep.
Yep.
complaining about everything, trying to haggle.
Yep. And the
It's
thing
cost
that
too
made it
much.
seem he's like sushi is supposed to be room temperature. Like the sushi ain't even cold here. Sushi's not cold. It's room temperature.
Yeah.
They
It was.
complained about it.
I thought that episode was brilliant, and I
It
knew
was
the stuff
brilliant.
that he was saying was right, but I mean the approach was
And
absolutely.
Darius still in the car is amazing.
It's just funny because they
Well,
just
because they had set it
about
up that way because they were talking about the valet parking being a problem going into there, and so
Yeah.
Darius was like, "Yeah, you know, he just
You y'all know what
it
was
doesn't
so
matter.
interesting about this episode?
What?
There was a lot of cars in parking lots, and people care to forget. In the most surrealistic moments of this whole entire series, it happened in parking lots.
Chuck get
Mhm.
closer to your mic, man. I want you to.
So a lot of the surrealism happened in parking lots.
Yes,
So
just like
for
the episode
example,
one. I knew he
episode
was gonna
one
die in
with the
episode one.
dog, yeah, yep, and the invisible car was in the club parking lot.
Oh yeah,
People care. A lot of things happen in parking lots. Van and Ern left the car in the parking lot, the parking garage.
The
in
first
Atlantic
episode, yeah,
Station,
that's why they were
couldn't
going
find
around
that
Yep.
that
man.
parking lot.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
Yeah.
funny how they bust through the door of the the funeral.
Yep. Yep. There's so many interesting things. And then we at the last episode, it was all a dream.
It was all a
It's a
dream.
very Bob Hope way to end the series. Bob Hope ended his whole entire series. Bob Hope went like 7 seasons, 8 seasons. People love the Bob Hope show, Bob Newhart show. And Bob Newhart, how did it end? He wakes up. Just wakes up.
Hmm. Because
Durrell, this is
I,
my brother Durrell. This is
I
my
heard
brother
somebody say
Durrell.
today that it was a disappointing ending to,
I
and I,
thought it was brilliant.
I thought it was brilliant.
I
That's the
and
show on
figured that's how this
television.
show would end. Like nothing's gonna be wrapped up, nothing's gonna be neat. These people's lives are gonna get on, and it's still layers
Yep.
that we can unpack with it. Yeah,
Yep. And they decided to come back 10 years later. We'll still watch it.
hmm
I would.
Watch it like in every year.
as long as it's still on this level of excellence, absolutely.
Man, no, the whole farm episode was brilliant. Like
Wow.
Paperboy being on the farm.
And he did not want to listen
Oh,
to that feral pig.
and
I
he
knew
didn't want to leave. He
I
didn't
knew
want to
when that
leave.
man told him. He's like, he just looked at him. He's like, okay,
You're gonna
feral
learn.
pig. He said, you better kill him before he kill you.
And these back hoes ain't loyal. I laughed my ass off. He was fixing the tracker. He felt at home. He felt at home on the farm.
Yeah, man. And
And
just
even
to
the turmoil of the farm almost killing him, but doing the stupid shit he did, he
Good
still
thing he
wanted to be
wanted
there.
Amazon.
He still wanted to be there.
all right, fellas, we're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna re-rate it. So we're gonna start with you, Kyle, this time. I'm pretty sure I know how you're gonna re-rate it, but what you doing? What do you got, sir?
It's a 10. It's a 10.
Yeah.
Okay, I was particularly hungry, so it is a full binge out twice.
Nice. And I'm sticking the same full binge out. As I said at the beginning of the show, the only reason I'm going with full binge out because we don't have a larger scale. Chuck, bring us on home. What are you doing?
Best show on television in a long, long time.
It's one of my top 5.
It's probably some of the best screen storytelling ever created in human history. I'm trying to think of other shows on its level. I have never experienced anything like this before. And the brilliance and the nuance of everything, every little detail. Like even the fact when Paperboy pulls up his truck to go into the General Dollar store,
And
and
all
he
the
has
other old
literally
beat up
all the old beat up trucks. And
'70s
he comes up
Ford
in
F-150s.
he comes up in the electric a Cadillac truck.
Yeah.
It looks sexy, and it's like, yeah, and he feels at home. He felt at home
Mm-hmm.
the whole entire time.
Just like
Um,
the fact when he's talking to the guy inside the general store and you see the Dixie flag up there, but he had
it
no
was
problem.
American flag, and
Yeah.
it was like a military American flag. He
But
looks
that was
straight at it.
the one above where it said, we don't call the police when he was
Yeah,
trying to figure out what was breaking into a spot.
yep,
But I'm
yep.
saying when he was behind him at first, there's directly over his head is like a Dixie flag.
Oh, was it? I didn't see it, but he felt so at home. He's like, "This is it.
Exactly.
This is it. This is where I belong."
Because
And
you
it
know
was
what?
Darius
What
trying
he's
to.
doing.
It
We
was
talked
it,
about it.
and
It's
it was
not who
Ern
he
trying to talk him out. You be safe out there. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, because that's not who he is. Paperboy is not who.
Is
What's his real
him
name?
or Alfred.
Alfred. Yeah,
He's not the
he was
street
Alfred
dude. He's
out
not the
there. Paperboy is
rapper.
not who Alfred is.
Yeah, yeah. And he's just
Absolutely.
like, and his dad is Cat Williams, who had an alligator.
I don't. That's his uncle.
His uncle, yes, his uncle, yeah,
That's his
yeah.
uncle.
He's very,
Because his
very
mom
smart.
died, and we don't know who his
Yeah,
father. They never mentioned his
yeah.
father.
Mention his father. That's true. And Cat Williams is like, have an alligator because it's one with nature. That's what we are. And it's like that is true. And
Right.
We be
even
talking about this all
And
night.
oh, we
So
can.
cool.
So I'm getting a full binge out. Full binge
So
out now.
full binge out.
Full
All right.
binge out.
Rakai, you got anything to say before we head out, sir?
No, man. Once again, another fantastic week, another fantastic binge out, and this this one, I was really glad to be a part of this one because this show I absolutely love.
I'm gonna miss this one. I'm gonna miss Atlanta. I don't know what fills the void of Atlanta.
On top of the fact that for the last 2 seasons, season 3 and season 4, Donald let Steven start doing the descriptions for the shows. So even on this last show, it was all a dream. He said, as much as I hate this show, I think I'm gonna miss it. Like, I loved his descriptions these last 2 seasons. Like,
Cool, good stuff. Chuck, you got anything to say before we head out, man?
Man, I just want to be in the writing room for shows like this. I just want to be in the writing
be in the room where it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. This one of the moments. If you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. Cool. Want to give a shout out to Digital Click. They provide the surroundings and the marketing needs that we use on a daily basis. Also, want to give a shout out to Mark. He joins us a little late tonight, man. We appreciate you always supporting us, bro. We got to get you on the show one time. Give a shout out to Rodney. He's our tech guy. The eye in the sky is what we call him. And as always, the Geekish Network, we are a network for people of color, Latinx, Black, Asian, Southeast Asian. We have people in front of the camera, behind the camera, and we do it to create content for people who look like you. We're on Facebook, like us there. We're on Twitch, like us there. Hit that subscribe button and share us with your friends. For again, this is content for people who look like you. So please support us. Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know what we're watching next week, but we'll be back on our regular.
Yeah, you do. Andor
don't end until the 23rd.
Okay.
Got 12 episodes.
I don't know what we're watching then.
Yeah, I don't know what we're watching. I don't know what we're
that
watching
out.
next week because we got we get the Addams Family, then we got Andor. So I don't know what next week is though. We'll figure something out, but
Yeah.
we'll be back at our normally scheduled time on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock Eastern time or 8 o'clock Pacific time. Whatever we decide to watch, better believe the conversation and the commentary right here is going to be interesting and fascinating. So we'll see you guys back next week. Peace.